So here we are with Emerald Tablet 10. We're making our way slowly through, but hopefully you're beginning to work upon yourselves and using this wisdom, which I have to say, you can't just read this book once. It's one of those you have to keep going through, rereading. You know, when you're on the bus, on the train, or, got a few moments, read a tablet, and each time something new will come from it. It's all a mystery, but it's hidden knowledge within it. So let's read on with Tablet 10. List ye, O man, take of my wisdom. Learn of his deep hidden mysteries of space. Learn of the thought that grew in the abyss, bringing order and harmony in space. So this is advising you to learn about the universe and the divine source, whatever you want to call this, God, Allah, whatever. You're trying to find your way to the divine source, the God above all gods. Though, to be honest, he's unknowable, or she's unknowable, it's unknowable. And I do sometimes wonder if Allah, Jehovah, and all the others are more like demigods. But this is something you've got to work out for yourselves, what you believe in, what you want to follow. So continuing the tablets. Know ye, O man, that all exists has been only because of the law. Know ye the law, and ye shall be free, never be bound by the fetters of night. Far through strange places have I journeyed into the depth of the abyss of time, until in the end all was revealed. Know ye that mystery is only mystery when it is knowledge unknown to man. And there's that old saying that, most magic is just science that we don't know yet. And mystery is something that comes in many guises. And as I've said before, most of the world is using, scientists and such like are using a secular, materialistic one way of thinking, where with this kind of knowledge, we need to also look at it with our spiritual eyes and our spiritual heart and the spiritual way of looking into it. We've got to find the hidden message within. As Thoth says, when ye have plumbed the heart of all mystery, knowledge and wisdom will surely be thine. Seek ye and learn that time is the secret whereby ye may be free of this space. So coming back to time again, pondering on time. What is time? Tick tock, tick tock. Long have I wisdom, sought wisdom, aye, and shall seek of eternity's end, for know that ever before me, receding shall move the goal I seek to attain. Even the laws of the cycles know that not yet have they reached the goal, for with all their wisdom, they know that truth ever grows. Once in a past time I spoke to the dweller, asked of the mystery of time and space, asked him the question that surged in my being, asking, O master, what is time? Then he, the dweller, spoke to me. The master said, know ye, O Thoth, in the beginning there and void and nothingness, a timeless, spaceless nothingness, and into the nothingness came a thought, purposeful, all-pervading, and it filled the void. There existed no matter, only force, a movement, a vortex or vibration of the purposeful thought that filled the void. And we shall continue about words and the start of the universe in a little while. So we're seeking to learn mysteries, but hidden knowledge that is available to us if we're the winning student. And this path is an ongoing path. As Thoth says, even the laws of the cycles are still on the path of discovery. Once again, we are querying as to what time actually is, something for you to ponder on. What was the universe like before time existed? Was there a universe? It says here that it was a void. It's quite hard to comprehend. If it was just a void, what could that have been like? Is it something that's beyond our comprehension? So Thoth questioned the master, saying, was this thought eternal? And he's talking about the thought that started the universe. And answered me, the dweller, saying, in the beginning there was eternal thought, and for thought to be eternal, time must exist. So into the all-pervading thought grew the law of time. Aye, time which exists through all space, floating in a smooth, rhythmic movement that is eternally in a state of fixation. Time changes not, but all things change in time. For time is the force that holds events separate, each in its own proper place. Time is not in motion, but ye move through time as your consciousness moves from one event to another. I by time yet exist, all in all, an eternal one existence. Know ye that even though in the time you are separate, yet still are one in all times existent. So all times are happening at the same time. So there was a void and thought entered, which implies that there was mind before there was matter. And this is quite an important thing. Many people want to discuss what came first, the chicken or the egg. And in this, of course, it's mind or matter. Was the thought there before there was matter, or did matter create itself and then a thought went into it? Well, for anything to be created, we needs an idea, and that comes from a thought process. And thought is a force, a vibration. It affects our inner life as well as our outer life. Whatever thoughts you have affects you. The more negative thoughts, the more violent or upsetting, they vibrate through your body and will impact on your physical and mental health. The more positive your thoughts, the more uplifting you will feel. Also, the thoughts that we send out will affect the area around us. People can sense when somebody is in a bad mood, not just by looking at the person's face, but their body language as well. One can also feel the atmosphere change around them. Cease then the voice of the dweller, and departed I to ponder on time. For I knew that in these words lay wisdom and a way to explore the mysteries of time. Oft did I ponder the words of the dweller, then sought I to solve the mystery of time. Found I that time moves through strange angles, yet only by curves could I hope to attain the key that would give me access to the time-space. Remember, in the angles and the corners, that's where the darkness dwells, and in the arches and the curves is where we can flow more freely. A wheel spins, but a square cannot go round, clunks as it goes along. Thoth continues, found I that only by moving upward and yet again by moving to rightward could I be free from the time of the movements. Up and to the right, my right that is, yeah, your right. Forth I came from out of my body, moved in the movements that changed me in time. Strange were the sights I saw in my journeys, many the mysteries that opened to view. Aye, saw I man's beginning, learned from the past that nothing is new. So Thoth's travelling back and forth in the time here in his astral body to see how humanity came to be on earth. And he continues, seek ye, O man, to learn the pathway that leads through the spaces that are formed forth in time. Forget not, O man, with all of thy seeking, that light is the goal ye shall seek to attain. Search ye for the light on thy pathway, and ever for thee the goal shall endure. Let not thine heart turn ever to darkness, let light shine soul be, a sun on the way. Know ye that eternal brightness ye shall ever find their soul, hid in light, never fettered by bondage or darkness, ever it shines forth a sun of the light. Aye, know, though hidden in darkness, your soul, a spark of the true flame exists. Be ye one with the greatest of all lights, find at the source the end of thy goal. Light is life, for without the great light, nothing can ever exist. Know ye that in all formed matter, the heart of light always exists. Aye, even though bound in the darkness, inherent light always exists. Now, I want to remind you that vibrations happen in everything, words, movement, matter, etc. But it's not the quantity of vibrations that is important, it's the quality of the vibration. A higher vibration brings higher connections. The lower, well, then we are taken into denser realms. Light is of a higher, lighter vibration. Darkness is denseness and sluggish. And Thoth writes, once I stood in the halls of Amenti and heard the voice of the lords of Amenti, saying in tones that rang through the silence, words of power, mighty and potent. Chanted they the song of the cycles, the words that opened the path to beyond. Aye, I saw the great path opened and looked for the instant into the beyond. Saw I the movements of the cycles, vast as the thought of the source could convey. So words are powerful, chants are too, and with the right wording one can change the atmosphere. This is why religious folks, monks, nuns from all denominations, from all religions, from the ancient ages, all the sacred priests and priestesses, they chant and pray continuously. These holy words affect the area, and words are like spells. They have an influence behind them. Swearing and cursing, blaspheming affects the atmosphere, and you are using, or you're putting negative energy into the air when you do that kind of thing. Plus, those words are coming out from you, so they are rising through your body and out of your mouth, and will have an effect on your physical well-being in a negative way if you're using negative language. But if you're being positive language, then it will affect you in a positive way. And Thoth writes, knew I then even infinities moving on to some unthinkable end. Saw I that the cosmos is order and part of a movement that extends to all space, a party of an order of orders, constantly moving in a harmony of space. Saw I the wheeling of cycles like vast circles across the sky. Knew I then that all that has been is growing to meet yet another being in a far-off grouping of space and of time. We're all attaining to trying to get to them higher levels, them higher versions of ourselves, and the higher beings, the angels and the archangels and so on. Knew I then that in words of power to open the planes that are hidden from man. Aye, that even in words lies hidden the key that will open above and below. Hark ye now, man, this word I leave with thee. Use it and ye shall find power in its sound. Say ye the word, Zin Uru, and power ye shall find. Zin Uru. If one knows the right words, then one can perform the right spells to open the doorways to other realms. Yet must ye understand that man is of light, and light is of man. List ye, O man, and hear a mystery stranger than all that lies beneath the sun. Know ye, O man, that all space is filled by worlds within worlds, aye, one within the other, yet separate by law. So we have worlds within worlds, all these other realms, all living in the same space, connected, but not for us to enter unless we had the keys. Maybe this is why this is where all the monsters come from, the ghosts and the alien races that people talk about having seen or are visited by. You know, Nessie, the Loch Ness monster, could well have managed to traverse from one realm to another, which is why she's not seen that often. The Yeti could be part of a race that are able to move between our realm and theirs. And then we've got all the strange goings on at places such as Skinwalker Ranch in America. Could all this be because the worlds within worlds have connections and doorways are more open there? The veil is perhaps thinner for creatures to pass through. Thoth writes, once in my search for deep-buried wisdom, I opened the door that bars them from man. Called I from the other planes of being one who was fairer than the daughters of men. Aye, I called her from out of the spaces to shine as a light in the world of men. Now, Thoth has just told us that there is a door that bars us humans from other realms, and we can possibly access them if we work as hard as Thoth did and learn the ways and discover the keys. But this doorway also leads to all the other creatures that maybe we don't want running around in humanity. The dark forces could be brought out through them. So we have to be careful when we're opening these kinds of doors. Maybe they shouldn't be being opened unless we're proper masters. And Thoth talks about the lady is called forth from this other realm. So how did he do that? Well, he tells us. Used I the drum of the serpent, wore I the robe of the purple and gold, placed on my head I the crown of silver, around me the circle of cinnabar shone. Raised I my arms and cried the invocation that opens the pathway to the plains beyond. Cried to the lords of the signs in their houses, lords of the two horizons, watchers of the treble gates. Stand ye one at the right and one at the left. The star rises to his throne and rules over his sign. And this all sounds like astrology to me. So we need to understand how astrology works. It's not just your star sign, your sun sign that's important. It's understanding your whole of your star sign, if you can get a birth chart done, to look at where all the planets are in your chart when you're being born. And that will go on to help you learn how all the charts for the stars are important to study so that we can understand what the astrological symbolism is in these books, in these stories. And it's not just in these, you'll probably find them in other things. Nostradamus talks a lot with astrological symbolism, and if you can understand astrology, then you'll be able to work out the keys. You know, and Thoth here has learned a ritual, a rite, and he knows how to do this. And why he has done this, he explains next. I, thy dark prince of Orulu, open the gates of the dim hidden land, and release her whom ye keep imprisoned. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye, dark lords and shining ones, and by their secret names, names which I know and can pronounce, hear ye and obey my will. So we need to learn about these different names, about the shining ones, which again, there's many different stories about these, who they are. And the shining ones are the ones that have done this kind of work and developed themselves so that the light is shining through them, which is why they're the shining ones. And Thoth continues, lit I then with flame my circle, and called her in the space plains beyond. Drought of light returned from Orulu. 7 times and 7 times have I passed through the fire. Food have I not eaten, water have I not drunk. I call thee from Orulu, from the realms of Eka Shegal. I summon thee, Lady of Light. Then before me rose the dark figures, aye, the figures of the lords of Orulu. Parted they before me, and forth came the Lady of Light. Free was she now from the lords of the night, free to live in the light of the earth, in the light of the sun earth, free to live as a child of the light. Now, Orulu has many names. He's the devil, the tempter, the king of the damned, to give just a few. And to free the lady from the dark clutches of Orulu, Thoth has to prepare himself mentally and physically. He must have his emotions in check. And this is one of the most important things about this kind of work. Are you prepared for you? Are you mature enough to take on this kind of work? Are you mature enough to take on the responsibility for such action? And that's not just in the magical path. Are you mature enough to take on the responsibility of the actions you make in your everyday life? Are you able to think, feel, and be a fully balanced person, able to deal with situations, whether personal or otherworldly, in a sensible, considerate way? Or do you still lay the blame at other people's feet when things go wrong? Do you still use other people to further yourself instead of actually taking responsibility for your own behaviours? Are you a person of the light, or does the dark still creep up to take control of you? Are you worthy of joining those who are known as the shining ones, those who are dedicated to the brothers and sisters who battle against the dark forces? Of course you are, or you would not be doing this course, but it is something I must encourage you to think about, to look at yourself. Are you mature enough? Should there be any doubt in you, that is fine, because this can be worked on and overcome. It's an ongoing path. You can be the spiritual warrior that you want to be, as Thoth explains next. Hear ye and listen, O my children. Magic is knowledge and only is law. Be not afraid of the power within thee, for it follows law as the stars in the sky. So once again, we need to understand the astrological meaning of the stars that are going past us day and night. You know, I do advise, go out and look at the stars at night. It's a wonderful thing to look upon. You never know what you might get told or discover. And Thoth says, know ye that to be without knowledge, wisdom is magic, not of the law. But know ye that ever ye by your knowledge can approach closer to a place in the sun. List ye, my children, follow my teaching, be ye ever seeker of light. Shine in the world of men all around thee, a light on the path that shall shine among men. Follow ye and learn of my magic. Know that all force is thine if thou wilt. Fear not the path that leads thee to knowledge, but rather shun ye the dark road. And remember, fear takes us to the dark path, as they say in the Star Wars movies, and is just known in the ancient esoteric teachings. We need to overcome our fear. Light is thine, O man, for the taking. Cast off the fetters, and thou shalt be free. Know ye that thy soul is living in bondage, fettered by fears that hold ye in thrall. Open thy eyes and see the great sunlight. Be not afraid, for all is thine own. Fear is the lord of the dark Arulu, who he never faced the dark fear. I know that fear is existence created by those who are bound by their fears. Shake off thy bondage, O children, and walk in the light of the glorious day. Never turn thy thoughts to the darkness, and surely ye shall be one with the light. Man is only what he believeth, a brother of darkness or a child of the light. Come now into the light, my children. Walk in the pathway that leads to the sun. Hark ye now and listen to the wisdom. Use thou the word I have given unto thee, Zin Uru. Use it, and surely thou shalt find power and wisdom and light to walk in the way. Seek thee and find the key I have given, and ever shalt thou be a child of the light. And that's what we want to be. We want to be free. We want to be part of the continuing wheels, the cycles that are going round and round. And we want to discover the true us that's within us, the true soul that's with us. As Thoth emphasizes that the progress, development of the soul is the aim of the way, the aim of this work. And you're doing great. So here we are on Emerald Tablet 11, the key to above and below. And Thoth says, hear ye and list ye, O children of Kem, to the words that I give, that shall bring ye to the light. Ye know, O men, that I knew your fathers, I your fathers in a time long ago. Deathless have I been through all the ages, living among ye since your knowledge began. So Thoth's been around for a very, very, very long time. He's one of the ancients. And in the ancient times, it is said that the gods walked among the men, amongst the women. I'm not talking about the divine source, the God above all gods. We're talking about all the lower gods that came after. And in ancient Egypt, in the old times, they had all people like Horus and Thoth, Ra, and such like. The lady goddesses like Sekhmet, Isis, all walked with the people. These were known as the first times. And Thoth writes, leading ye upward to the light of the great soul have I ever striven, drawing ye from out of the darkness of night. Know ye, O people, amongst whom I walk, that I, Thoth, have all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom known to man since the ancient days. Keeper have I been of the secrets of the great race, holder of the key that leads into life. Now, over time, humanity has been given these keys, or various people, the mystery schools, those that were initiates, but it's been lost over time. But the truth never changes, it always reappears. But Thoth is the one that's always known it, always has had it. He might not always have been around, because sometimes he has to go back down to the halls of Amente to regenerate himself. And Thoth writes, keeper have I been of the secrets of the great race, holder of the key that leads into life. Bringer up have I been to ye, O my children, even from the darkness of the ancient of days. List ye now to the words of my wisdom, list ye now to the message I bring. Hear ye now the words I give thee, and ye shall be raised from the darkness to light. And he talks here about the darkness of the ancient of days. So when creation began, there was that dark void, and it sprang forth, and the universe was made, and all life began like a little child, like a little baby. It's all come through, brand new, doesn't know anything. And Thoth writes, far in the past, when first I came to thee, found I thee in the caves of rocks. Lifted I thee by my power and wisdom until thou didst shine as men among men. Aye, found I thee without any knowing, only a little were ye raised beyond beasts. Fanned I ever the spark of thy consciousness until at last ye flamed as men. So Thoth not only educated mankind, but he also rescued mankind. He gave the early humans the opportunity to step up. He guided them, taught them a way to live that was no longer barbaric. We did not live like animals. We became more civilized. Now shall I speak to thee, knowledge ancient beyond the fault of thy race. Know ye that we of the great race had and have knowledge that is more than man's. Wisdom we gain from the star-born races, wisdom and knowledge far beyond man. Down to us have descended the masters of wisdom as far beyond us as I am from thee. List ye now while I give ye wisdom, use it and free thou shalt be. So he's talking about the star-born races, and we're all stars, as I've said in earlier tablets, but there's other races out there. We are not the only race that's been offered the chance to develop and rejoin with the divine source and to be part of the enlightened. So there's other races that are also fighting to break free of their bondages from the darkness. And we need to help them and ourselves join the light. And Thoth writes, know ye that in the pyramid I builded are the keys that shall show you the way into life. I draw ye a line from the great image I builded to the apex of the pyramid, built as a gateway. Draw ye another opposite in the same angle and direction. Dig ye and find that which I have hidden. There shall ye find the underground entrance to the secrets hidden before ye were men. And these are the clues to finding the ways to the halls of records with all the answers and the ancient knowledge and the histories of Atlantis and ages that were before then. Oh, to find that path, hey? So we often go to Egypt to find that treasure map. We need to take a trip to Egypt and study the keys he's given us here in this book and figure out how this pyramid is the gateway. And Thoth writes, tell ye now of the mystery of cycles that move in movements that are strange to the finite, for infinite are they beyond knowledge of man. So we're the finite, and we're trying to develop ourselves so we don't get caught up in the reincarnation cycle, so that we can go on to become one of these people that can keep living like Thoth does eternally. And Thoth writes, know ye that there are 9 cycles, 9 above and 14 below, moving in harmony to the place of joining that shall exist in the future of time. So these cycles are quite important. We need to figure out what they are and how they manipulate and operate in the harmonious development of the whole of the universe. And these cycles, he's going to discuss a little bit more, but we've got to remember about all these different lords and the relationships they can give us and the chakras within us that can harmonize and unite with these cycles. You've got to remember these cycles, we're not thinking in a rational way here. We need a little bit of rationality, but we're supposed to be thinking with our spiritual senses. And Thoth writes, know ye that the laws of the cycles are units of consciousness sent from the others to unify this with the all. Highest are they of the consciousness of all the cycles working in harmony with the law. So when I was saying about using your spiritual eyes and your spiritual way of thinking, these are different ways of using consciousness. It's not just a rational consciousness, as I was just saying, and most people in this world live in a secular consciousness. They're not using their conscience, which helps us with our right and wrong and is the divine spark in us that tells us whether we're going towards the light or going towards the darkness. We can feel when things are not right and the vibrations aren't right, we're going towards the darkness. So we're trying to attune to all the different consciousnesses that are out there. And these, some people describe them as being in other dimensions. And it's us attuning to them, but we have to work our way up to them. And Thoth writes, they that in time all will be perfected, having none above and none below, but all one in a perfect infinity, a harmony of all in the oneness of deep beneath the earth's surface in the halls of Amente, which is what we're trying to get. We're trying to get that harmony so we can attune with the harmonious ways of the universe. So neath the earth's surface in the halls of Amenti sit the 7, the laws of the cycles, I, and another lord from below. So in all these different dimensions and consciousnesses, are different lords, different guardians that are operating this. And as you go through this work and as you're developing yourself and you enter each new level, you will meet one of these guardians to converse with in whatever way that you can connect with them, and they will help you develop yourself and your consciousness to keep on going to the next level. Yet know that in affinity there is neither above nor below, but ever there is and ever shall be oneness of all when all is complete. Oft have I stood before the lords of the all, oft at the fount of their wisdom have drunken, and filled both my body and soul with their light. And you will notice that those who follow this kind of path lead a quite chaotic life, whereas those who are on this, those who do not follow this path lead quite a chaotic life, whereas those who are on this path and are becoming more awake, not just in themselves, but in what they see around them, as well as notice how others operate in this world, and how many people make life as difficult as they can for themselves because they are enslaved in the bondage of darkness, where we're freeing ourselves from that. And when you free yourself from these different laws, things become more easier. I'm not saying in your material world, in the secular world, but in your spiritual idea of life, in your developing of your soul, and you will see things differently. You'll begin to realize what's important and what isn't in developing your life and living your life. You start seeing what priorities are really important. And Thoth wrote, "Spake they to me," he's talking about the lords of the cycles here, "spake they to me and told me of cycles and the law that gives them the means to exist." And that's what we're learning about. What is true existence? What is the real reason for existence? Not just every day going through life, getting stuck in the rat race, you know, like most people are. It's becoming more attuned to what is our reasoning for being here. And many people would say, oh, there's no reason to life. But if you're following this path, you can sense there's something else going on. You're questioning things. And Thoth writes, "I spake to me the Lord of the Nine, saying, O Thoth, great are ye among earth children, but mysteries exist of which ye know not. Ye know that ye come from a space-time below this, and know ye shall travel to a space-time beyond." So it's talking about these different levels of consciousness, these different dimensions. This is what this space-time is, and we're working our way through them. And Thoth writes, and this is the Lord of Nine still talking to him, "But little ye know of the mysteries within them, little ye know of the wisdom beyond. Know ye that ye as a whole in this consciousness are only a cell in the process of growth." And you might recall me saying before about how working for the divine and doing this kind of work, we can either be the good bacteria or the bad bacteria. And we want to be the good bacteria that's going on to help the universe develop and grow as well, and the ancient wisdom to be passed on. And the Lord of Nine continues, "I it, though in space-time below thee, is ever growing in ways that are different from those that were part of the ways of thine own." So each dimension is going to be slightly different of the way we see life in this universe, in this world. Hopefully we're going to see some magical things. "For know that it grows as a result of thy growth, but not in the same way that thou didst grow. The growth that thou had and have in the present have brought into being a cause and effect. No consciousness follows the path of those before it, else all will be repetitive and vain." And going into these cycles, we're going to, like I just said, each one is going to be different. The Lord of Cycles continues, "Each consciousness in the cycle it exists in follows its own path to the ultimate goal. Each plays its part in the plan of the cosmos. Each plays its part in the ultimate end. The farther the cycle, the greater its knowledge and ability to blend the law of the whole." So as your consciousness expands, you become aware of the changes within you, and some things will now become petty to you, not important in your everyday life. You'll become aware of what is important, what is trivial, what needs attention, and what is actually a trap by the dark forces. Your priorities change, your awareness changes as you walk down this path, or along this path, I should say. We don't want to be going down, we want to be going up. So Thoth writes, this is the Lord of Nine continuing, know ye that ye in the cycles below us are working in the minor parts of the law, while we of the cycle that extends to infinity take of the striving and build greater law. Each has his own part to play in the cycles. Each has his work to complete in this way. The cycle below thee is yet not below thee, but only formed for a need that exists. For know ye that the fountain of wisdom that sends forth the cycles is eternally seeking new powers to gain. You know that knowledge is gained only by practice, and wisdom comes forth only from knowledge, and thus are the cycles created by law. Now, it's great to have all this knowledge. It's great to learn things, but what's even more important and needs to be kept in balance with the knowledge is the wisdom that we use with this knowledge. It's great to be a clever clogs and think we know things, but if we don't understand how to use this knowledge and create it into wisdom, then we're not making proper use of it. So Thoth continues, means are they for the gaining of knowledge, for the playing of law that is the source of the all. The cycle below is not truly below, but only different in space and in time. The consciousness there is working and testing lesser things than those ye are. And know, just as ye are working on greater, so above ye are those who are also working as ye are on yet other laws. So you know, there's others out there doing this work. We're all following like a ladder up. We've got people ahead of us and people below us, and we've all got to try and help each other. We've got to help those that are behind us, and people above us will hopefully help us. The Lord of Nine continues, we who, having been in cycles beyond thee, are those who came forth from the source and have in the passage through time-space gained ability to use laws of the greater that are far beyond the conception of man. Nothing there is that is really below thee, but only a different operation of law. So in all these different dimensions, the laws run in a different way. You know, it's like when you go abroad on this planet Earth, the laws are different in another country. And that's what's happening here in these dimensions. This path is for those who want to reconnect with the divine, belief in divinity. And this path is not for materialists. In fact, they will not be interested in this at all. And should you mention it to them, they will ask what they could possibly gain out of this. And they'll be thinking in monetary terms or materialistic terms, not in soul development or your eternal soul living throughout the aeons. Usually when one mentions an awakening to consciousness, these kind of people usually laugh and move on to another subject. And few of them really want to awaken. They don't want their consciousness, because it means that they will have to look at themselves. You know, your conscience wakes up with this, and many people don't want to face their conscience, because a deep, insightful look comes from all this. And this is one of the things about this path. You all look back on your own life and probably cringe at a few of the things you've done. But you've got to remember that was in the past. You're working on yourself now. And if you're aware of what you've been doing, you know, have that remorse of conscience and use that to move you on so you don't make them kinds of mistakes again. So, you know, we need a deep, insightful look at oneself. And as I was saying, it brings up all one's ways, all of one's behaviours, which can be quite a painful process. Most people find this very uncomfortable to do. So this is why we need the will, the desire to do this, to continue with this, to make our lives more meaningful. When I first went on this path, I wanted to help all these people find their soul. And I felt that was my mission to do this. And it took me a long time to realise that they will find their true self in the end. It might not be in this lifetime, it might be in the next one, and they will reconnect with the divine in some future reincarnation. I need to work on myself in this lifetime. I've got to develop myself so that I can move on up through the ladder, as I was just speaking about, help those below me, and look out for help from those above me. And as Thoth says, or writes here, look thee above or look thee below, the same shall ye find, for all is part of the oneness that is at the source of the law. The consciousness below thee is part thine own, as we are a part of thine. Ye as a child had not the knowledge that came to ye when ye became a man. You know, when we're children, when we're younger, we don't think like this. You know, some of us do, or maybe we get turned away and easily distracted from our conscience by our peers or people that tell us ignore that, or don't worry about it. Everybody does it. We see other people doing bad things and we think we can get away with it. That all has to stop. So compare ye with the cycles to man in his journey from birth unto death, and see in the cycle below thee the child with the knowledge he has, and see yourself as the child grown older, advancing in knowledge as time passes on. See ye, we also the child grown to manhood with the knowledge and wisdom that came with the years. So also, O Thoth, for the cycles of consciousness, children in different stages of growth, yet all from one source, the wisdom, and all the wisdom returning again. Everybody is all part of the one. And as I've just said, you know, everyone's at different stages, and we're trying to work on ourselves. And Thoth says, cease then he from speaking, the Lord of Nine, and sat in the silence that comes to the Lords. Then again spake he unto me, saying, O Thoth, long have we sat in a mente, guarding the flame of life in the halls, yet know we are still part of the cycles of our vision, reaching unto them and beyond. Aye, know we that of all, nothing else matters, except in the growth we can gain with our soul. Know we as the flesh, it is fleeting. So one must follow one's path. Thoth's path is not necessarily your path, for we must all make our own path, blaze our own way ahead. But we're all following each other. We just do it in different ways. We all are trying to reignite our soul. As Thoth says, no consciousness follows the path of those before it, but we can learn from others. And Thoth writes, the things men count great are nothing to us. The things we seek are not of the body, but are only the perfected state of the soul. When ye as men can learn that nothing but progress of soul can count in the end, then truly ye are free from all bondage, free to work in a harmony of law. Know, O man, ye should aim at perfection, for only thus can ye attain to the goal. And perfection's hard to get. You remember Salvador Dali saying, well, not personally, but I read his quote, that perfection is unattainable. But Thoth is telling us here in the ancient wisdom it is attainable, but it takes hard work. Thoth writes, though ye should know that nothing is perfect, yet it should be thy aim and thy goal. And it's Lord of the Nine that was telling him this. Ceased again the voice of the Nine, and into my consciousness the words had sunk. And this is one of the things of this book. You have to keep rereading it so the tablets sink into your consciousness. Now seek I ever more wisdom, that I may be perfect in law with the all. Soon go I down to the halls of Amente to live beneath the cold flower of life. Ye whom I have taught shall never more see me, yet live I forever in the wisdom I taught. All that man is because of his wisdom. All that he shall be is the result of his cause. So it's how much work we put into this, how much effort, how much willpower we have to do this. Thoth writes, list ye now to my voice and become greater than common man. Lift thine eyes upwards. Let light fill thy being. Be thou ever children of light. Only by effort shall ye grow upward to the plane where light is the all of the all. Be ye the master of all that surrounds thee. Never be mastered by the effects of thy life. Create then ever more perfect causes, and in time shalt thou be a son of the light free. Let thine soul soar over upward, ever upward, free from the bondage and fetters of night. Lift thine eyes to the sun in the sky space. For thee let it be a symbol of life. Know that thou art the greater light, perfect in thine own sphere when thou art free. And we're looking up at the sun, glorious sun. Sometimes we see that white sun up there. And at night, we've got the moon. And okay, in the moon's dark in its darkest moment, but as it starts turning into its throwing forth the light, that is sunlight. That is the sun reflecting onto the moon, back down onto us. So even at night, the sun is shining on us through the moon's um, waxing and waning up to full moon round. Then it goes back to dark moon, new moon, when there is no sunlight on it. But that's only for a couple of days, a couple of nights, and then it comes back out again. Sun starts shining again upon the moon. Look not ever into the blackness, lift up thine eyes to the space above. Free let thy flame, thy light flame upward, and shalt thou be a child of the light. And that is what counts, progress of the soul. That is freedom from bondage. And this takes effort, but when one is free, one becomes the great light. So here we are for Emerald Tablet 12, the law of cause and effect and the key of prophecy. And Thoth writes, list ye, O man, to the words of my wisdom, list to the voice of Thoth the Atlantean. Conquered have I the law of time-space, knowledge have I gained of the future of time. Know I that man in his movement through space-time shall ever be one with the all, which is what we're attaining to be, becoming one with the all. And Thoth writes, know ye, O man, that all of the future is an open book to him who can read. So maybe nothing is fated. This is one of the things that I'm often discussing with people of, is our astrology fated? Are we all bound to a fated way of destiny? Or can we break that fate and instead break free from these bondages? And I wonder if the fate that people tell us that we have and that prepared life for us is part of the being caught up in the bondage of the dark side, and we are trying to be the light, to break free, to be our real selves, to break our astrology, our astrological chart, so that we can become liberated. All effects shall bring forth its causes, as all effects grew from the first cause. Know ye the future is not fixed or stable, but varies as cause brings forth an effect. Look in the cause that thou shalt bring into being, and surely thou shalt see that all is effect. So the law of cause and effect. Everything happens for a reason, and that will continue to affect you unless you break free from the bondage of the darkness. But we can change that for ourselves. If we follow Thoth's guidance and work upon oneself, then one can escape from the fate of your astrology. Most things are fixed. Most people follow the patterns of their lives, but one can bring that fate and change your destiny if you, as they say in the New Age, wake up. If you begin to lift the veil and see life for what it really is and what it really offers. But as I keep stressing, you have to be morally well and balanced to do this. You have to look at your own psychology. You have to study the patterns you make in life and continue to make when you are unaware of this teaching, when you're caught up in the dark forces, the bondage that the dark forces is putting on us. Because when you start walking this path and start studying the ancient wisdom, you begin to see the patterns that you're creating in your life and the ones that are holding you back and the ones that might help you go forward, but usually patterns are just repetitive, and we want to break that repetitive cycle and go forward. And Thoth says, so, O man, be sure the effects that ye bring are ever causes of more perfect effects. Know ye the future is never in fixation, but follow man's free will as he moves through the movements of time-space towards the goal where a new time begins. Free will, one of the most important things that us humans have been given. We have the free will to do what we like, or so we think. It could be an illusion that's been put on us by these the dark forces, this bondage. We think we're thinking for ourselves, but the dark forces are leading us down dark alleys and getting us to do what they want us to do. Where once you're free from all this, then your free will really is working. You really are thinking for yourself, doing for yourself, being free. And Thoth writes about this. Man can only read the future through the causes that bring the effects. And as you probably know in history, things repeat themselves over and over. We seem to do the same things, or history does the same things over and over, which is, why we have prophets that can foresee what's happening. They can see the patterns of how things are going along, and that, patterns lead to the same results. We're trying to change that. And Thoth writes, seek ye within the causation, and surely ye shall find the effects. List ye, O man, while I speak of the future, speak of the effect that follows the cause. Know ye that man in his journey lightward is ever seeking escape from the night that surrounds him, like the shadows that surround the stars in the sky, and like the stars in the sky space. He too shall shine from the shadows of night. Ever his destiny shall lead him onward until he is one with the light. Aye, though his way lies midst the shadows, ever before him glows the great light. Dark though the way be, yet shall he conquer the shadows that flow around him like night. Far in the future I see man as light-born, free from the darkness that fetters the soul, living in light without the bounds of the darkness to cover the light that is light of their soul. So according to Thoth, life is not fixed. We can change our life, our destiny. So it's fixed if we're caught up in all this, as I was saying, caught up in the dark forces bondage. But when you start breaking free from yourself, we can change everything. Nothing is then fated or set in stone, but we can only change these things if we wake up. Those that are not waking up to all this and are caught up in the bondage of darkness, these are letting their lives just roll along. They're not really living their lives. So they would say they are. If you ask someone, they'd be like, yes, I'm living my life the way I want to live it. They're fully conscious of what they're doing. But we can see they're caught up in the patterns. And the purpose of this teaching, this book, is to escape this. And Thoth writes, know ye, O man, before ye attain this, that many the dark shadows that shall fall on your light, striving to quench with the shadows of darkness the light of the soul that strives to be free. Great is the struggle between light and darkness, age-old and yet ever new. So this has been going on, this war, as I've said before, it's been going on forever, since humanity first came to this earth, before humanity was first brought and created. The dark tried to take it over. And the light left us to do this, but the light can come through if we find the teachers. And Thoth writes, yet know in a time far in the future, light shall be all and darkness shall fall. List ye, O man, to my words of wisdom. So the light will win in the end. As they say in many religions, the light always wins. But it could be an ongoing thing, and the struggle is that people are not coming to the light. Too many people are staying in the darkness, so it's an ongoing war that's going on forever when we need to shorten it, get it over and done with. And Thoth writes, list ye, O man, to my words of wisdom. Prepare, and ye shall not bind your light. Man has risen, and man has fallen, as ever new waves of consciousness flow from the great abyss below us towards the sun of their goal. So down below, that dark forces are trying to pull us back down, and we're attaining to go upwards. Thoth writes, ye, my children, have risen from a state that was a little above the beast. Until now, of all men, ye are greatest. Yet before thee were others greater than thee. Yet tell I thee, as before thee others have fallen, so also shall ye come to an end, and upon the land where ye dwell now, barbarians shall dwell, and in turn rise to light. Everything lives, everything dies, and we want to be ready for when we die to go on to the next stage. We don't want to come back in the reincarnation cycle. Or maybe you do, maybe you want to stay on this earth and come round again. Maybe you think, another go on the wheel won't hurt. or maybe, as in the old Buddhas, the ancient Bodhisattvas, when they reached that enlightenment, they chose to come back because they wanted to help others by bringing forward these teachings. It's your choice. This is something you have to do. Of what happens when you come to it depends on how developed you are as well. So we're all from, originally we all were barbarians. We're now changing into light bringers. Everybody has the opportunity, but it depends on the speed of their development, and we cannot fault that. Each person works at a different pace. You might be coming to this work for the first time, and this could be the stepping stone in your evolvement, as in your evolving ways. Or you may have come along a little further than a beginner. You're no longer a novice, but an intermediate. You just need that extra bit of tuition to keep you on the right path. So hopefully this is the lifetime when you can see through the darkness's bondage, see through the lies and deceit, and have found your way back to your divine connection. Here to be a developed spiritual warrior to help others take up the path. And Thoth writes, forgotten shall be the ancient wisdom, yet ever shall live, though hidden from men. So it gets forgotten, but it's never gone. The ancient wisdom will always be there, waiting for the right person to pick it up again. And Thoth writes, I in the land thou callest Kem, Egypt, races shall rise and races shall fall. Forgotten shalt thou be of the children of men. Yet thou shalt have moved to a star space beyond this leaving, beyond this place where thou hast dwelt. So if we can evolve ourselves, ready on, out of the reincarnation cycle, we move on to the star space, to the next dimension, the next part of our evolution. And as Thoth says, the soul of man moves ever onward, bound not by any one star, but ever moving to the great goal before him, where he is dissolved in the light of the all. Now, many people don't like this. They like to think they're going to keep their individuality forever, but we don't know what's going to happen when we dissolve into the light of the all. Don't really know what that means for ourselves. You know, we might dissolve into the light of the all, but still be our soul, our element, our essence. I don't think it means obliteration. Thoth writes, know ye that ye shall ever go onward, moved by the law of cause and effect, until in the end both become one. I, man, after ye have gone, others shall move in the places ye lived. You know, humanity continues. People get born every day, people die every day. It's a fact. And Thoth writes, knowledge and wisdom shall all be forgotten, and only a memory of God shall survive. And that's when the dark ages are coming, when that's happening. That's when the dark forces have taken control of the war. They're leading the war. But the light shall come back. As Thoth says, as I to thee am a god by my knowledge, so ye too shall be gods of the future, because of your knowledge far above theirs. See, this might be what happens when we assimilate in with the light of the all, when we dissolve into the light of the all. We might become gods, who knows? Yet know ye that all through the ages man shall have access to law when he will. Ages to come shall see revival of wisdom to those who shall inherit thy place on this star. So every time the dark forces is getting control of the situation, the light will come back through for those that have ears to hear. And Thoth writes, they shall in turn, those that have reawakened the wisdom, or been reawakened by the wisdom, they shall in turn come into wisdom and learn to banish the darkness by light. Yet greatly must they strive through the ages to bring unto themselves the freedom of light. Then shall there come unto man the great warfare that shall make the earth tremble and shake in its course. So why do we have to do this? Because there is an ongoing battle between light and the dark. The dark still deceives, leads astray those who are not truth seekers. The dark forces will still try to take out the spiritual warriors who come to bring the light teaching to those who wish to hear. The battle is ongoing for now. As Thoth says, I then shall the dark brothers open the warfare between the light and the night. So the light's never starting the war or going forwards in battle. The light is more of defendants. They're defenders. We don't go forward unless the dark is taking over. We're not going to look for the trouble. The dark is causing all the trouble. We're there in defense. And Thoth writes, when man again shall conquer the ocean and fly in the air on wings like the birds, when he has learned to harness the lightning, then shall the time of warfare begin. And I've been discussing this book with many other people over the years, and we've, quite aware that this is what's been happening in the last 100 years. Humanity has changed a lot at a phenomenal rate in the last 100 years with our technology, with the freedom in some ways that people have of religious thought or non-religious thought, or gender equality and things like that. Things are changing. This last 100 years could be this exact sign that Thoth is saying to look out for, because he says, great shall the battle betwixt the forces, great the warfare of darkness and light. Nation shall rise against nation, using the dark forces to shatter the earth. Weapons of force shall wipe out the earthman until half of the races of men shall be gone. We could be saying this is kind of what's happening now, isn't it? The weapons that all our different countries have are phenomenal and can take out countries and can take out vast numbers of people. And Thoth tells us, then shall come forth the sons of the morning and give their edict to the children of men, saying, O men, cease from thy striving against thy brother. Only thus can ye come to the light. Cease from thy unbelief, O my brother, and follow the path, and know ye aright. Then shall men cease from their striving, brother against brother, and father against son. So it's the end war story is always, we need to end war. Why do humans still war against each other? It's this kind of thing that's holding everybody back from going forward in their spiritual development. What is driving them to do this? Well, it's the dark forces. They whisper into the minds of men and women, confusing them with lies and such like, making people turn against each other. The light, the divine, would never send one human to war upon another. The light way is through resolving issues, disputes with communication and understanding, debate and discussion, not guns and bombs or bullying. We need to cease from striving brother versus brother. And it's not necessarily just war country between country, it's, humans against humans in the everyday life. So Thoth writes, then shall the ancient home of my people rise from its place beneath the dark ocean waves. Then shall the age of light be unfolded with all men seeking the light of the goal. Then shall the brothers of light rule the people. Banished shall be the darkness of night. It'd be great, wouldn't it? No more whispering in our ears, the dark forces trying to tempt us to do things that we don't really want to do, but somehow they can do it on us because they use their magic. It's kind of hard to visualize what kind of world that would be, that peaceful world of everybody living in harmony. It's an ideal we can strive for. And Thoth writes, I, the children of men, shall progress onward and upward to the great goal. Children of light shall they become. Flame of the flame shall their souls ever be. Knowledge and wisdom shall be man's in the great age, for he shall approach the eternal flame, the source of all wisdom, the place of beginning that is yet one with the end of all things. And wouldn't that be just such a wonderful world to be living in, all humans helping each other, all humans aware that everybody's slightly different, but still being there for them, still working with them, no judgment, no prejudice, no worries about that you can go out as you want to and no one's going to take the mickey out of you or make you feel like a fool or ridicule you, because you're going to be free enough to do what you will and everybody will understand that. It would be an amazing world to live in. And Thoth writes, in a time that is yet unborn, all shall be one and one shall be all. Man, a perfect flame of this cosmos, shall move forward to a place in the stars. I shall move even from out of this space-time into another beyond the stars. So this whole planet, or all the humans on it, I'd like to think it's the whole planet, because you've got wonderful nature on it, we want to keep that safe as well, will move on to another dimension, to the next stage of its evolvement. And it's not just humans that evolve, everything can evolve, but everything's evolving at different rates. But if our whole planet can evolve together and move forward, we'll be very blessed. And Thoth writes, long have ye listened to me, O my children, long have ye listened to the wisdom of Thoth. Now I depart from ye into darkness, now go I to the halls of Amente, there to dwell in the future when light shall come again to man. Yet know ye my spirit shall ever be with thee, guiding thy feet in the pathway of light. Guard ye the secrets I leave with thee, and surely my spirit will guide thee through life. So while we're walking this path, we're asking for Thoth to help us, and Thoth will always be there. Keep thine eyes ever on the pathway to wisdom. Keep the light as thy goal evermore. Fetter not thy soul in bondage of darkness. Free let it wing in its flight to the stars. Now I depart thee to dwell in Amente. Be thou my children in this life and the next. The time will come when ye too shall be deathless, living from age to age a light among men. Evolved humans, that's what we'll be, evolved souls. The time will come when ye too shall be deathless, living from age to age a light among men. Guard ye the entrance to the halls of Amenti. Guard ye the secrets I've hidden among ye. Let not the wisdom be cast to barbarians, which is why, before there was mystery schools and special schools for this kind of wisdom, because if the barbarians get it, they will misuse it, or they will try and change the wording in it so that those that are looking for it will come across a disrupted version of this book, a corrupted version of this book. And Thoth writes, secret shall thou keep it for those who seek light. Now depart I, receive thou my blessing, take thou my way and follow the light. Blend thou thy soul in the great essence. One with the great light let thy consciousness be. Call thou on me, and when thou dost need me, use my name 3 times in a row. Chiketet, Aralek, Volmalitis. So Thoth has not left us alone to do this work. He's there to help you. Just call upon Thoth's 3 names. I've pronounced them one way. I've heard other people pronounce them another way, but I'm pretty sure that however you say them, Thoth will be aware that you're calling for him. So I'm going to end tablet 12 here. I want to thank you all for listening. Tablets 13 and 14 are called the supplementary tablets, and I'm going to leave them in the PDF for you to decipher for yourself and to read. But I am very happy that you took this course, and I'm really pleased that you came along, and hope you go forward with it more in your own studies. I want you to go forth and walk and be the light. I just want to say you can always contact me. My website's debbie-elliott.co.uk, and there's a contact me there page on there. I'm more than happy to discuss these tablets with anybody that wants to, and I'm more than happy to hear new ideas and new views about them. Everyone's here to teach each other. So if you've got something that maybe I've not said or you think I should know about, please do let me know. As I say, I'm happy to chat with you all. If you have questions or comments, just don't hesitate to get in touch. I wish you all well, and I will look out for your bright light. So for now, namaste. I bow to the God within you, and I look forward to hearing from anybody that wants to chat. Bless you all. Peace and out.